Hello there, Internet, and welcome to Season 2 of Cinephiles Assemble. Because by calling it Season 2, that makes the incredibly long gap between videos an example of seasonal hiatus and not general laziness. General laziness? A little bit of housekeeping first. Like last year, I am going to be putting out a best of video for the movies of 2021. There may be some guests, who knows. This will come out towards the tail end of February, that way I can catch up on some Oscar nominations when those finally get released, and a couple other movies I haven't gotten around to yet. I would like you guys to help me out. Email me your top 10 movies of 2021. Now, it doesn't have to be 10, we can be as low as 4, but 10 max. I'll take all the lists, average the picks, and we'll see what the consensus is. And if you write a really short review of your number one pick, why you like it so much, it may be read in the video, possibly dramatically. So send that to me at cinephilesassemble@yahoo.com. That is going to be in the episode description. Also, we are going to have a new episode next week. It's going to be something different. It will be the first of a monthly installment. So you're going to get at least 12 new episodes of the show this year. So that's something. Anyway, down to business. In this episode, we're going to be talking Scream 2022, just some of my thoughts about it, and why I think that this Ghostface is the scariest Ghostface we've ever had. I'm going to give some of my spoiler-free thoughts, and then I'll give spoiler warning, because it will be going into spoilers. So, you've been warned. There will be another warning, but you've been warned twice. So, a simple plot summary of Scream 2022 is there are new Ghostface killings occurring in Woodsboro. We had a new cast of characters, some returning characters, and a bunch of bodies hitting the floor. Is it the best Scream sequel? No. In fact, it's probably tied with Scream 3 as my least favorite. Day by day, it could flip between the two. But doesn't mean it's a bad movie. I actually really enjoyed it. There are 5 movies. One's got to be at the bottom. It doesn't feel like a Scream movie, and that's a positive. The directors didn't try and just ape Wes Craven's style. They made it their own. It's the most brutal of all the Scream films. It is bloody. It is gory, but it's tastefully done, if that's possible. Ghostface himself is the most intimidating that he's ever been on screen. It's probably the most suspenseful Scream movie since the original, keeping the suspense going throughout almost the entire movie. The movie does fall flat in the characters. The majority of the characters don't have that much character to them. Not all of them get to have some defining thing to them to make them stand out. While the filmmakers do a really good job on the kills and the suspense, it really falls flat on the actual quiet character moments that really help the Scream franchise out a lot, making you care about the characters. Half the times it feels like a really good Scream sequel, and the other half, it feels like the Stab version of the events of the Scream movie. So no, definitely not the best Scream sequel, but still very good. It's still in theaters. I recommend going to see it. Okay, so now we're going to be going into why I think this Ghostface is the most terrifying Ghostface we've ever had. Major spoiler warning, I'm not going to reveal who the killer is, but I'm going to reveal the motive, which is the big thing for me. All right, so spoiler warning. In the world of Scream, we have the Stab franchise. Stabs 1 through 3 were based on Screams 1 through 3. Stab 4 we know nothing about. Stab 5 involved time travel. We saw bits of Stab 6 and 7 in Scream 4. In this, we get little bits of Stab 8, which is universally reviled by the fans. They change Ghostface's mask, he uses a flamethrower, it has no connections to the previous movies. It's basically, I'll always know what you did last summer. And the hatred for this most recent Stab movie is the reason the new Ghostface killings are happening. The killer is a fanboy. The killer is a toxic fanboy who has claimed ownership of the franchise and is angry that the last movie was bad. So he's going to go and kill a bunch of people to try to inspire a better movie. I hated this. I hated this motive when I saw it in theaters. I hated it for the next day or two. I thought it was petty and dumb. But it gnawed at me. And it wasn't like I was trying to like it or trying to accept it. It just kind of stayed with me. This killer has no connection to Sidney Prescott. No connection to Gale Weathers, no connection to Dewey Riley, no connection to the original franchise. This killer just watched a movie, decided they didn't like it, and thought the best option was to go out and kill people. That could happen. We're living in an age where creators and actors and writers get death threats because of plot lines the fans don't like. Kelly Marie Tran from Last Jedi, Dan Slott, who wrote one of my favorite Spider-Man stories that got him death threats. It's insane. Thinking about the killer's motives in Scream 2022 made me realize just how close we are to this. This is actually kind of brilliant on the moves of the filmmakers. And we know even if Stab 8 had been good, even if it had been the best of the franchise, that wouldn't have stopped this killer. We know that it's not the movie that creates psychos.
Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Had Stab 8 been great, this person would have just found some other reason to go kill people. Something else would have set them off.
See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Something else would have caused them to lose the reality button on their remote control. Which is why this is the scariest one for me, because it made me realize that the killer in Scream 2022 is Randy Meeks. I'm not saying they resurrect Randy from Scream and Scream 2 and have him be the killer, but go back and rewatch the original trilogy. Especially Scream 2 and his cameo in Scream 3. If they hadn't killed off Randy in Scream 2, he would have been the killer by now. That video in Scream 3, he's not leaving a message telling his friends how to survive. He has gone mad. Just listen to it.
If this killer does come back, and he's for real, there are a few things that you gotta remember. Is this simply another sequel? Well, if it is, same rules apply. But here's the critical thing. If you find yourself dealing with an unexpected backstory and a preponderance of exposition, then the sequel rules do not apply. Because you are not dealing with a sequel. You are dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy. Here are some super trilogy rules. 1, you got a killer who's going to be superhuman. Stabbing him won't work, shooting him won't work. Basically, in the third one, you got to cryogenically freeze his head, decapitate him, or blow him up. Number 2, anyone, including the main character, can die. This means you, Sid. Number 3, the past will come back to bite you in the ass. Whatever you think you know about the past, forget it. The past is not at rest. Any sins you think were committed in the past are about to break out and destroy you.
Does that sound like he's talking in metaphor? Even in his scene with Dewey in Scream 2, where he's talking about the rules of the sequel, you can tell he's lost it. He's not talking about the rules of a sequel. He's starting to believe these are the rules for real life.
Let's get down to business. The way I see it, someone's out to make a sequel. You know, cash in on all the movie murder hoopla. So it's our job to observe the rules of the sequel. Number 1, the body count is always bigger. Number 2, the death scenes are always much more elaborate. More blood, more gore. Carnage, candy. Your core audience just expects it.
It's not the scene in Scream 1 where he's talking about how to survive a horror movie. In that, he's talking about inside the rules of the movie, not of real life. He's not saying that if you drink and do drugs in real life, you're automatically going to die. But by Scream 2, he is. And Randy's the one that most of us identified with. He's the one that up until Scream 2022 had the most heartfelt, saddening death in the series. And he could have been the worst Ghostface of them all. I'm so glad that I'm past the point of Dave Rage these days, where I would get really angry at a direction a TV show or a movie got. But a whole lot of people haven't. And that's why Scream 2022 has the scariest Ghostface, in my opinion. You could hate it. Just try not to hate it that much. There's a lot of bad shit in this world that we can hate. Let's leave the movies alone. Okay, that's it. Yeah, this one was weird. I don't really know how many of these types of videos I'm going to do. Let me know. Like I said, next week we're going to have a new monthly segment. Batman review is coming. We're going to go back to the list of movies that you guys voted on. I still need to finish. Those will be more comedic, like some of the older episodes. I really am going to try to get back on a better schedule. I know I've said it before and haven't lived up to that, but I'm trying. I'm a work in progress. So yeah, like, share the video, subscribe to the Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's all in the description. Until next time, which will be soon, I promise. I'm Dave DeRose, and I'm a cinephile.